Welcome to The Girl Herd,
where we talk Texas football.
And a bunch of takes you've probably already heard.
But not from us.
What moment within your career and your tenure at Texas still gives you chills to this day, and a story maybe that other fans wouldn't think is likely for you to tell?
Oh, Angie, there's so many with 36 years, but one that really sticks out in my mind, and especially today, is we're playing Michigan in the Rose Bowl, and Texas has never played Michigan before. Texas has never played in the Rose Bowl before, so this is really special. Cedric Benson's our running back. Bless his heart, we lost him a number of years ago to a motorcycle wreck, but Cedric was the number one draft choice. They thought he'd go first round, maybe 14th, 15th, 16th pick. So he's going to make a lot of money. And so there was no thought of any opt-outs or he's not going to play. Wasn't even a consideration. That man was excited about playing in this ball game. So first play of the game, he hyperextends his knee. He limps off. He comes over. The doctors look at it and say, "You're fine. There's no structural damage, but I wouldn't play if I was you, because you're going to be a first-round draft choice. If you get hurt, you're going to lose a lot of money." He said, "Tape it up, man. I'm playing in this ball game." And he said, "This is Texas and Michigan in the Rose Bowl. I am not missing this game." So he plays the game. Vince went off and had a great game, but a lot of it was because they were worried about Cedric. They didn't know his knee was sore. So after the game, I talked to the team. I go talk to the media. And I'm leaving the locker room in the Rose Bowl late, and I see Cedric sitting in a corner with his full uniform and his helmet on crying. And he's by himself. And I walked over and I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm okay." And I said, "Is it your knee?" And he said, "No, Coach, my knee's fine." And I said, "So what's wrong?" He said, "This is the last time I'll ever have a Texas football uniform on, and I don't want to take it off." That's the loyalty we had then. That we've got some now, but we're not seeing it or feeling it near with teams right now or coaches as we did before.
Yeah, I think that's something else too. We've talked about on our podcast is that loyalty and the love and the pride that it used to mean to wear Texas on your chest and to have the burnt orange and to play behind and learn from people like Brian Arakpo and all of these legends that have come through the locker room. And it just is so sad. And even from a fan perspective, it's hard to have a favorite these days because you don't know, are they going to stay? Or are they going to go? And it's just such a challenging time for college football, even on the fan perspective.
Well, and even, Angie, to a point that fans give money to NIL, and then the money goes to the player, and then it's public how much money the player gets, or there's at least rumors out there. And I know in one case at North Carolina, we had a receiver come in, and he caught a bunch of balls against Minnesota early in the year. He dropped some balls against Virginia, and one of my drunk friends that had a lot of money, that knows better, saw me leaving the stadium and said, "How much do we pay that idiot to drop balls?" And I said, "Not very much." So they are treated like professionals now. And if they don't get money, which a large majority do not get much, if any, then it puts them in a very difficult spot, because people get angry, more angry now if they mess it up and don't play well, and they're young, they're kids, they're going to mess it up. Yeah. They're not video games. Then people are going to get mad at them and say, "Why did I pay my money?" Or so-and-so got hurt. Well, that cost me. They're not items. They're not statues. They're not trophy heads. These are kids. And we're treating 18 to 21-year-olds like they're pros, and they're not. They're professionals because we're paying them, but they're not at that maturity level where they can handle all the things that we're throwing at them. And that's why I really worry. And I worry about it for the parents too. We'd have some kids at North Carolina that would come to me and say, "Coach, my mom doesn't have enough money to pay her rent. She got to pay for a house payment. I've got to send all my money home, so I don't have any money." And it could sit there and cry. Right. And then you try to set up a process where all right, let's send this much to your mom and let's keep this much here for you. So you'll at least have a little money, and then maybe we can save some. So you're constantly talking to these young guys about ways to make their life better, but these are life crises. And it's just too much pressure, in my estimation, for guys that age.
It's crazy. It goes way beyond just what we get to see on the field on Saturdays. And speaking about our era and the players that came up under you, what I love seeing is how many of them came back and are involved in a media capacity. Talk about Third and Longhorn, which is great. You talk about Fozzie on Longhorn Network, and then of course Blake, who is a coach and played under you. I mean, how meaningful is that to see all those guys be involved with Texas football?
Well, it's so cool, and it's one of the great things about this place. Everybody treats them so good; they want to come back. Mm-hmm. And 20 years ago, when they had the reunion of the national championship team for the Vanderbilt game, it was unbelievable how many came back.
Yeah.
And it was so fun to see the wives and the kids and and when I made that crazy statement after the national championship game, don't let this be the best day of your life, be better husbands, fathers, be better citizens and all that. And they all looked at me like, he's crazy. We're nuts. None of us are married. We don't have kids. What's he talking about? Well, it was so fun when they'd all come up now and said, it just hit us, what you were saying. And now we get it, instead of you being stupid in that locker room 20 years ago. But it's so fun to catch up with them and see what they're doing. And it's so rewarding, too, ladies, when they come up and say, remember when you told me this? That changed my life. Remember when you said this? Remember when you came to my dad's funeral? Remember when you called my mom when she was in the hospital sick? And at the time, you don't realize how powerful your message is as a coach to the players. But Billy Graham said one time that coaches will touch lives of more people in 1 year than the average person will touch in a lifetime. And I can tell now at 74 years old, as I look back, they listen to everything. And you have to be careful. They may not even understand what you meant and be afraid to ask you what you meant. And that's why I've told young coaches, if you walk by him and he's got his head down, he's telling you there's something wrong. Go back and fix it. Go back and address it. If you walk by and say, hey, how are you, Michelle? And they say, I'm fine. There's something wrong. Because he usually says, I'm fine. How are you, coach? So they're telling you I've got a problem. And what coaching is taking crisis and turning them into positives. And that's in people's lives. That's in your building. That's in your university. That's with your high school coaches. That's every day of your life. You are taking negative things and turning them into positive. And if you can't do that, then you don't need to be coaching because you're not going to make it. Because when you're around that many different people, you're going to have crisis. And they're going to be every day. And I'm going to tell you, a player that is struggling, he doesn't realize it's 11 o'clock on Saturday night when he calls you and says, hey, coach, I got a problem. And you say, it's 11 o'clock on Saturday night. He don't care. I just got a problem. And you need to fix it. That's your job.
Yeah. Coach, it means so much for us for you to be back in Austin as well. So I can only imagine you're like, I love when they're coming and they come back and they say hi. It's amazing. We love it. When we heard you were coming back to Austin, we knew what that could bring and what culture. Of course, our era, everyone that, we've said, we were there when Gideon was playing and we helped recruit Gideon with Colden Shipley and bringing him on. So we absolutely love that he's back. How much do you go back, and are these coaches still calling you and asking you for things, or what's happening?
Well, they are, and you have to be careful. What I do when they say, what do you think I should do?
Yeah.
I usually say, here's what I did. And that makes it better. It was interesting, Michelle, when Coach Royal got dementia. And I brought him out for the game with Wyoming, an opening game, and I knew we were losing him like we knew him. But he and Mr. Jamel walked out, and they were honorary coaches for the Wyoming game. And he did a great job. They flipped the coin. He comes over. I hugged his neck, and I said, Coach, thank you so much for doing this. And he said, Coach, where am I? It was so sad. I said, Coach, you're in your stadium.
Yeah.
It's Darrell K. Memorial,
Yeah.
Memorial Stadium. And he said, huh? He said, who's playing? I said, it's Wyoming, coach, in Texas. He said, which is Texas? I said, the ones with the burnt orange jerseys that you're famous for starting. So it was really sad. So they put him in a home, Miss Edith did, and I would go see Coach about every other day. And when I would see him, he didn't know how many national championships he won. He didn't remember the Arkansas game. He didn't remember the stadium was named after him. But he knew every player's name, ladies, that walked in that room, ex-player. And what that taught me is success for a coach is relationships that you've made with your players and your coaches and your fans, friends, supporters throughout the years. So when they lay you down, they can't lay you down with the trophies. They can't lay you down with all the accolades. Nobody cares how many games you won. But your faith, your family, and your relationships are what happens. And Michelle, that's what I'm trying to do now. I was so lucky that the older coaches really took care of me. I don't even know why. But Coach Royal, if I called him, he'd call me right back before I got here. Coach Schembeckler, Coach Holtz is sick right now, and I hate that. He always helped me so much. Coach Bowden, Coach Paterno. I mean, these guys, I just love talking to them because I could just suck so much knowledge out of their brains, and they would tell me. And those were things that I needed. So that makes me want to give back to young coaches right now.
Yeah, there's a really epic picture of you, by the way, pregame with Stark, and you all are like head to head, and it's just an awesome picture. I'm like, I wonder what they're talking about. Probably stuff like this, like, you know, just imparting your knowledge.
I think I was saying, boy, I'm glad you got the pressure. I don't have it tonight. So. I'm going to go sit up in the suite, and I'm going to relax and prop my feet up and pull for you, but I don't have to make any decisions.
That's amazing. Okay, so I know that we saw Miss Sally a little bit before we started recording, and I will never forget, I was on the Palm Squad during my time at Texas, and we were at an event that Miss Sally was also at, and I will never forget that she took so much time to come and talk to each and every one of us about our experience and how our day was and enjoying our process of being a part of this athletics program that was so vast. So how has she and others helped shape the coach that you became today?
Oh gosh, Angie, first, the love of my life was my grandfather, and he was the winningest coach in Middle Tennessee high school football history, and the stadium's named after him. And I spent every day with him. I just loved him, and so many of the things that I believe right now, like always do what you know is the right thing to do, and you'll never regret it. If you're not sure if it's the right thing or not, don't ask. Don't do it, because it's not, or you wouldn't have to ask. So there's so many things like that came from Granddad. And then Sally brought to me, Sally was, she's very, very smart. She graduated from Cal Berkeley in top of her class in architecture and had never seen sporting events. She didn't even care. So I'm divorced, she's divorced. People said we were going to have this big dinner party with 22 of us. Well, when we both show up, and I never met her, she'd never met me, there's 4 people at the dinner party. Wow. And so they really lied to us to get us together. And the guy that got us together has been divorced, I think, 4 times. So he sure wasn't a matchmaker. He couldn't match himself up. And we have seen each other or spoken to each other every day for 33 years since that night. And what happened is she's running $1 million development business in Chapel Hill. I get offered the Texas job. She says, you need to take it because that's really important. I said, what happens to you? You've had 17 years of building your own business, and you're making a whole lot more money than I am. Why do we go because of me and you lose who you are? Then you become a coach's wife. And she said, I tell you what I'll do. Why don't I'll just buy houses, fix them up, and sell them. And that'll give me something to do, because I can't be a developer in Austin because I don't know the people and the politics of the coach's wife and all that. So I didn't realize, ladies, we had, I think, 17 houses and 3 ranches in 21 years in Austin, because I didn't realize she was going to fix ours up and sell them. So I moved a lot, but she's got such a great touch. What she also said is, what hobbies do you have? I said, I coach football and I play golf. I like to fish a little bit. She said, well, I'm not fishing. I'll learn to play golf. I've never played, so I can be with you. And what if I come to practice every day and I come and eat with the players? Because I want to get to know the players. I don't know anything about football. I don't care. And then early she even said, I don't care if you win or lose. I just like the players. Well, she could tell we were all depressed, and it was awful if we lost. So after about a couple of losses, she said, I get the winning thing. You need to win, they need to win, or you're not happy, so I'm pulling to win. And then she even got to where it was so important to her, and winning was so important to her, that she couldn't even eat on Saturdays. So when 2 or 3 people called and asked if I would be interested in their jobs at Christmas, when the jobs came open, I went down and talked to her, and I said, sweetie, would you want to go back into coaching? And she said, not unless you have a chance to win all the games.
I like that.
And she said, it's too hard.
Yeah.
Nobody understands losing, but if you're at a school and they're not giving you what you have to win, you're going to get fired. And you're going to be miserable, and the players are going to be miserable because you can't get people that you need to win there. So she said, somebody offers you one where you got a chance every week, you don't have to win them all. But if you got a chance to win them all every week, then I'm in. Other than that, I don't want to go back.
That's amazing.
I feel like Devin's like,
just facts.
yeah, just facts. I feel like Devin, you can relate to that.
Yeah. All of the things, you know, my boyfriend, Coach Brown, he's a football player at North Shore High School in Houston. And same thing. I mean, they played to December. They're at state all the time. And as playoffs were coming around, he was like, man, you're just really locked in for game day. I was like, yes, because like I was taking it personal. I was like, he has worked 7 days a week since August. They have to win, which they did this year, thank goodness. But it becomes intense.
Devin, we had dinner with Terry Donahue, who was the head coach at UCLA for 20 years. And he's in the Hall of Fame. He was a great coach, and he was retiring. And Andrea, they're both gone now, but Andrea was his wife, and we're coaching in the Shrine Bowl in San Francisco. And he's so nice, and he's smart, and he's very polite, and just maybe the nicest guy in the world. So we're at dinner, and Sally says, Terry, you're so nice, and you seem so laid back and easygoing. Mack doesn't speak until Tuesday after they lose a game. He's mad at everybody. He's mad at him. He's mad at the players, mad at the coaches. He's mad at me. How do you handle it? Andrea said, he doesn't speak till Tuesday after he loses a game. So don't let this smile and all that fool you. He is miserable. And then you can tell your boyfriend this too, Devin. So when I stopped coaching the first time, I'd come down and I'd start changing pictures up. I'd start moving something over here, and I'd move Sally's stuff around on a table, and she said, okay, Andrea Donahue told me this, but I can't handle you changing up my house. It's not your job. It's not your deal. You don't do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all your little trophies and all your little pictures, I'm going to put them in a room, and I'm going to call it the I Love Me room, so you can go love yourself. And you can move them anywhere you want. You can put them anywhere you want. I don't care if you stack them on top of each other. But don't you touch my rooms and my house again. So I am sitting here in my I Love Me room.
I do, yeah.
That I get to come up when things are bad. In fact, when I used to get home, and Devin, you could try this, I'd walk in, it'd been a long day and a bad day, and coaches are going to have stuff. And I'd walk in, and Sally'd say, sweetie, how was your day? I said, not very damn good. And she'd say, why don't you go to your I Love Me room and sit and watch a little TV, and then when you get a little refreshed and you're feeling better, why don't you come down and we can visit? So, Devin, that's what you get.
This is perfect and super ironic because right before we hopped on, there is one room in this house that is still empty and not decorated.
There you go.
It's as if you could see what's not on camera right now. There's a helmet. There's a nameplate from state. There's a lot of stuff, and my mom has noticed it because I'm big into design too. And she was like, Frank cannot be doing that. That is not where this goes. So I'm going to start working on his room.
I Love Me room.
Yeah.
This is it right here. This is what I got. So
That is so great.
and I come up here and I watch TV that I want to watch, and so I have total control of my I Love Me room. And she doesn't come up here much. She just came up to make sure I didn't screw this up before we got on. So that's where we have, and then she has the rest of the house.
It sounds like Miss Sally is very good at managing expectations.
She is. She is. But she also worried a lot more about the players than she did winning. Even knowing that winning was so important. We had a player, ladies, named Tylee Craft. 21 years old. We're at North Carolina, and Sally is in the elevator with him because she's around all the players all the time. They just love her. They call her Miss Sally.
Yeah.
And he drops, and he's 6'4". He's a wide receiver. He's a 3.6 student. He's a great young man. He's getting ready to start as a sophomore, and he's laying there in the elevator, and thank goodness the door opens. One of the coaches comes in, helps him get up. Well, we think he's just got back cramps from workouts. He goes and gets checked that night. He's got stage 4 lung cancer. So Sally absolutely fell in love with Tylee and his mom, and she just for 2 years, because Sally had cancer and she had ovarian cancer, and she lived, which a lot of people thought she wouldn't. She was 29 years old, so she could help the family, and so we watched him go through chemo, radiation. He'd come to practice and he'd get sick and he'd throw up, and I'd say, Tylee, go back to your room, man. He'd say, no, Coach, I need to be out here with my team, and that's what we're talking about earlier, with team and all of his friends and all the people around him. Well, we saw him go from a vibrant young athlete that's so smart, didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't go out. So he went to wheelchair, or he went to a cane, he went to wheelchair, he went to hospice. And in the latter part of the season, our last year there, I had to tell the team, Tylee's in hospice. He's got 10 days to 2 weeks. So he's going to die. And if you all want to see him, then you need to go to the hospital and you need to see him now and you need to tell him goodbye. And that's a load for especially their age, to know that one their age is going to die. Well, Sally stood over there and took every player in to see Tylee, and she'd take 3 at a time, 4 at a time, and she just spent hours with him at the end. So we're getting ready to play the Georgia Tech game, and I'll try to be quick with this because it's a longer story than I want it to be. But Friday night before a Saturday at noon game in Chapel Hill, we're playing Georgia Tech. I get a call at 2 a.m. Tylee may not make it till the game. It's what you're talking about with decisions from coaches. Mm-hmm. Do you play the game? Mm-hmm. Can you cancel the game? Can you cancel a contract with TV? Mm-hmm. What happens with 50-something thousand people that are going to show up for the game? What about Georgia Tech? Do we tell them? So I didn't know. So I didn't sleep. The next morning I get a call at 6, and they said he's still hanging in there. And I really think that between Mom and between Tylee and God, they all decided, let's hang in there till this game starts. Because we were honoring the family at the end of the first quarter. So into the first quarter, I go out and hug Mom. She is crying profusely. So I figured he was probably gone, and she knew it. But we took all the cell phones away. We didn't want anything to leak during the game for these guys to know they lost their friend. So we lose on the last play of the game. We drop a touchdown pass to win the game. Then we're going to overtime, but they hand the ball off to a running back. They go 68 yards untouched for a touchdown and win the game. So I'm walking off the field, and Sally says, I said, what you got, sweetie? And she said, Mom just called me and said Tylee died during the second quarter. She wants you to tell the team. She wants you to tell the media. Then she wants you to come and talk to the family. And that's what a coach does. Nobody understands that. So you can't say, I can't do it. Mm-hmm. You can't say, I don't want to do it. Of course you don't want to do it. It's your responsibility to try to let everybody understand. We had already emailed all the parents and said, this could happen, so if it does, don't leave your sons alone. Make sure that you're around family. Told the players, you all love Tylee, you did everything you could, but be around family tonight. Be careful. And then quickly we go to the funeral, and the minister, who now is really struggling with a rare nerve disease, and he was then, he's got a cane, he's probably 48 or something. He tells us, all of you are going to join Tylee at some point, maybe today, maybe 10 days, maybe 20 years. but we're all going to join Ty Lee. So don't think that you're not headed there at some point. And then the second thing he said to us was really touching, the two things. First, he said, you don't know how long you've got for the rest of your life, so you've got to put life into how long you have. I thought that makes sense to me. So that's helped me. Every day that I get up, I'm going to be grateful, because the last thing he said is, if you are healthy every morning when you get up, and your family are healthy, and you can add close friends if you want to, you better be grateful, because you have no problems. If you go to bed at night and everybody's healthy, you better be grateful, because you have no problems. And if you think you've got problems, if somebody told you that your husband has got 3 months to live, you drop all those problems. So healthy families have no problems. And I pray for all of our players. I pray for my family, and I pray for our really close friends every morning and every night. And I'm grateful when they're okay. And for the ones that are struggling, and some of them are struggling, I pray for them. And I pray the same. But what I used to think were problems are not really problems. They're things that we need to fix. Problems are if you're not healthy. And I used to add healthy and happy, and I thought, okay, that's overloading God. If they're healthy, they got to be happy by themselves. So that's on them. I can't make that. I can't put that in as one of the criteria.
I love hearing that in your story. Honestly, all of the stories that you've shared with us today, and we are so grateful for your time. And a big shout out to Lance, who kind of helped us put this together. But if there was one last message that you had, because Texas comes with a lot of expectations, and our fans can sometimes be very involved and put a lot of pressure on things too. Is there one last message that you have to leave for everybody as we get ready to go into another, hopefully, great season?
Yes, ladies. The first thing is, Angie was talking about Lance Coleman. He was a Texas Ranger, and he took care of our team for the 16 years we were at Texas, and he's a wonderful friend of her and her family. And I think your dad and Lance worked together.
Yes.
And he called and said that you ladies wanted me on. Well, I'd already seen on the internet that you had a podcast, and people say, what do you look at? I said, I look for information. So anybody that's talking Texas football, I want to see who it is, what they're talking about, what information do they have. That's my job. Yeah. So I had known that, and then when Lance asks you to do something, you don't say, I don't know. You say, I'm going to do it. So, and Lance protected me, but then Sally got knocked down after Tech beat us out there when they were number one in the country. She got run over on the field. No. And then after Kansas State beat us, she got run over on the field. So Lance started just walking with Sally after the game to get her back to the locker room in one piece. So Lance is special, and he's a great friend. But I would think, Angie, that everybody starts at the first of the year with Texas and says, we're going to win the national championship, that Arch is going to win the Heisman, and then we get so hyped that we lose who we are. Why don't we have a process where let's be the best team that we can be? Because I always felt like, for me, that football is so important in Texas that I thought it was the pride of people in the Texas football program more than pressure. And I understood too. I wanted to win too. So when I'd get mad, when fans would get mad, I'd come home and Sally'd say, you feel the same way they do. You just can't say it. I said, yeah, I do. I feel the same way exactly. So why don't we, as human beings, everybody's got a brother, a sister, or a daughter, or a son. Why don't we treat these players like we would want our sons and daughters to be treated? Number one, they're human beings. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to say stupid things. They're going to put something on the internet they shouldn't. All of us do. But I've told the players, and it's even worse now, when you go out, everybody is a media person now because everybody's got a camera. Everybody's got a phone. Everybody's got a recorder. So if you say it and do it and it's inappropriate, it's going to be public.
Absolutely.
So I think what we do, we've got to go back and let's don't get angry at the players because of NIL, because They didn't ask for it. People that want to be angry, they'll say they did too. They asked for that money. I said, no, they didn't. It was adults. We're the ones that didn't have common sense in this thing and went too fast. And we added stuff without knowing the consequences. So let's help these players. Let's help these coaches. I used to say when somebody, the boss would give me a big raise, the first thing I'd think, I don't have time to spend it. My kids are going to get it when I die because I don't do anything. I'm over here every day, so money doesn't matter. But it'll take care of Sally when I die. But she can make her own. She made more money than I did. So I think let's try to enjoy football. Let's enjoy the moment. I said something last year that when somebody's down, pick them up.
Yeah.
If they're up, you got to put your thumb on them some and make sure that they don't get arrogant and too cocky. But if they're down, pick them up. And this Texas football team was embarrassed that they didn't make the playoff. That's what modern day has become. And Devin, you said something about, and I didn't answer it properly earlier, about lack of patience. SEC is going to start playing 9 conference games. That's another chance to lose a game. So we're going to see playoff teams with 4 and 5 losses here at some point. We nearly saw it this year with 3. So I think people are going to have to adjust to this sport. College football is becoming more like the NFL, and there's going to be teams with losses that wouldn't have had losses in the past, because if you were playing an easy game against a group of 5 team, and now you're going to have to play Alabama in that slot next year. If you're in the SEC, there's a higher probability, of course, that you're going to lose. And the other thing that Sark has talked about a lot, unless the playoff committee gives you credit for playing at Ohio State, why play them? We play them because we want to see the game and it's fun and, oh, this is great. Well, not if it keeps you out of the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
So unless they give you credit for losing against a top 15 football team, we're going to see people quit playing them. Because it makes no sense.
I need them to pay attention to their top bullet point of strength of schedule, please.
That's it. That's it. I couldn't believe it. Don't say it unless you mean it. Just facts. We're just talking about facts.
We love facts.
We love facts. That simplifies everything. When somebody gets mad at me, I said, opinions are for everybody. These are facts.
We love that. Well, again, thank you so much for the time and for sharing all of your stories and your insights with us. And we look forward to hopefully chatting again with you soon.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate what you do. I appreciate your passion for young people. I appreciate your passion for Texas football, and that's what makes this state so special. So thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Hook 'em. Thanks, Coach.
Hook 'em.